everyone. Okay, I think we're live. You're now live. The Be Live is saying that we are live. I hope I can hear you, Katinka. Say something. Say hello.
Hello.
Okay, I cannot hear you. Great. Can you say something again?
Yes, so hello everybody.
Okay, hello everybody. I can hear you as well. I hope you can hear me too. Looking forward, yeah, so I can see that some people are watching us. Hi girls, good to see you in Fearless Female Founders. And we have a very insightful session today with Katinka Meszaros, who is, I hope I pronounced it correctly.
Yeah, almost.
Almost. Who will be sharing with us her journey from the corporate world to entrepreneurship. And why I think it is important to listen to such sessions and to such interviews is I think is much more valuable than going to any trainings, because in the trainings you usually hear theory and sometimes you become a little bit too delusional about what to expect in the entrepreneurial world, and it doesn't always fit the reality. So that's why for me, it's like gold. You know, I do it for Fearless Female Founders. I do it for you girls, but honestly, I do it for myself as well, because I'm so curious to hear the stories like the one of Katinka. So Katinka, welcome to this interview. Welcome to the session. So happy to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, we are going to start from the basics. Yeah, just tell us about yourself, about how you first of all ended in Belgium, in Brussels, how you started building your career, and why you have decided to shift into entrepreneurship.
Okay, so I'm originally Hungarian, and I came to Belgium 15 years ago this year. So it's been some time, and I went to school here and then started to work here. And I was a project officer, then event manager at an association based in Brussels. And that was my first job and only job in the corporate world until now. And basically, I became like independent 2 months ago. So like officially full-time independent, but I started with a complementary, if you know the status, this complementary independence. I started 1 year before, and yeah, like this idea of becoming independent, it was born earlier, of course. So it was not a one night I just dreamed about it and the next day I did it. So I can tell you that later.
Yeah, that's an interesting actually point, and maybe some people would be curious to learn a little bit more about that, because not everyone knows, especially those ones who just come to Belgium, you know, and they want to shift into entrepreneurship, and they don't know that there is this complementary independent. My French is almost perfect. There is this status which allows you to have your side hustle, not paying a lot of social contributions, which are usually 700 euros and higher per quarter. And I'm actually paying now almost like 1,600 euro per quarter, which like feels mental, but I'm more subtle with it now than I was before. When I first started, you know, when I was first trying to be an entrepreneur and I heard about those 700 euro, for me it was a shock. Like I was frozen. I was like an ostrich. I put my head into the like sand. I was like, no, I don't want to know about that. How is it possible? But actually, once you know that it is expensible and it is becoming, yeah, normal. So you got about the status, and you started practicing your side hustle. How did it work? How did it go?
Yeah, so from practical point of view, I had my full-time job as an event manager, and I started to be interested about entrepreneurship like around like 5 years ago, and even 7 maybe. But first, I didn't really understand this word, like what is this? And I for like few years it was like Chinese. and then just started to read about it, and more and more I was curious, and also because I saw others. So first of all, I saw that they are like kind of free, a bit stressed, like we always working a lot, but somehow in some aspects free. So I was like, okay, I know myself, I'm a little bit like rebellious, and didn't really feel fit in, but at the same time we have this mindset of trying to fit in. So I didn't really know myself if it's me, there is something wrong with me, or it's just there is another way. So it took some time to accept it and work around it.
And why did you feel that you don't fit in? How did it manifest?
For me, it's like everything went well, and in the job, I think I did well. I got promoted, and like it was all well, and I was very happy. I really loved that job, but it was more in myself. So it was more how I was feeling, and I'm like, okay, how much energy it takes for you to do something well, and I felt that sometimes it took me more energy than it could have, for example, taken if it would have been another thing. So it's more that I felt the energy I need to put in. It was sometimes a lot, and that was very tiring. And I started to ask myself, like, which option do I want to choose? Put energy in something that takes a lot of energy, and it's okay, or put a lot of energy in something else that it's like what my heart desires. So I don't know how to say, but makes me happy.
I see what you mean. By the way, girls, whoever is watching us, we are happy to have you. And if you have questions, please ping. We will be happy to answer those questions. And my question is, you were saying that, okay, you were doing event organizations and you felt that you don't fit in, and it consumes a lot of your energy, and you would like to do something of your own. But actually what you're doing now is also event organizations. So how does it play together?
I think it's not about the topic. It's not about what I was doing, because I really love events and that was my passion, but it's the way of doing it. So
The
I
way of
think,
doing it.
yeah,
Okay.
like at an association, you are kind of, you are working for your employer. So anywhere you work, it's like you have to uh, just keep them in mind what they want, what's the aim of the association or the company, and this is fine. Like I really love this job. It was more about like what do I want, like what type of events do I want to organize, because I love to organize, but with whom, what type, with what purpose. So yeah.
Okay. No, I totally understand what you're saying, because I was experiencing and still experience actually something similar, because I do work for a client, but I also work for myself. And for me, the most important thing that gives me freedom is freedom to do my own mistakes. This is something incredible, you know. Like, you're doing those mistakes, but like, no, you know that no one will judge you because it was your choice. You decided to do so, and if it didn't work, it's like whatever. You don't have to be what's the word, like well, you are still responsible, but you don't
Like,
feel guilty towards your
yeah,
manager or whatever, and you do your own choices.
and justify yourself, right?
Exactly. That's
Mhm.
that's the
Excuse yourself.
word. That's the
Yeah.
word. Okay, so let's move to the next stage then. But before we move to that, I will ask you, okay, being a foreigner actually in Belgium and not knowing the local laws and bureaucracy about entrepreneurship, how were you navigating those waters of first being complementary independent, understanding everything like about taxes, uh, and finally then making this decision of going into uh, full independence, and then also knowing how to go there, because you can set up a company, you can be independent, uh, the social contributions and taxes depend on your earnings. So how were you learning about all those things?
Yeah. So at the beginning, when I said that this whole concept was Chinese for me, what I did is I just started to Google and I found some interesting documents on, for example, partner business. And I found some good documents and I just saved them. And I started to read, but I was like, I don't get anything from this. So I just saved it and created a folder. And then when I came across something, I saved it. And then later I went to read them sometimes, and each time it got a new meaning. And then if I didn't understand like one aspect, I just tried to focus on that. So I was first just like, what are the different statuses? So you have independent, but then I was a bit afraid of doing that. Like it's too much risk for me. So then I discovered this complementary independent status. I was like, okay, maybe this could be interesting. And then yeah, just reading a little bit, and it took me like 1 year to really get at the point where I was feeling confident enough to think about trying it. So it's not even yet started, just really slowly. And then I started to talk actively to people. So and actually it's one of the like big point for me is that it's so important to get connected to others and talk to others and learn from others. Because for me, what helped me is, for example, your group, because it's just like a gold mine when you have like no idea where to start. And yeah, and it was my friend Zita, who is a personal trainer, and she told me about when I started about your group, and I was like, wow, it's like I don't know what I want to know. So I just joined, and I discovered a lot of things on the way that I didn't know, and then you just start to search, like you hear this word or that term, and then you look for it. And then later, when I was feeling like, of course, there's one thing to be prepared and one thing that life happens. So for me, life happened in a meaning that at work, at my job, I was feeling like I'm approaching to the point that I need to get out. I loved my job, but I was like somehow growing, I think, in some sense. And I was feeling that my role became a bit like a box that you don't fit in anymore. And then at that point, I really talked actively to people who are really independent, and like how does it go and what are the things to think about. And then after I went to the accountant, so I asked for recommendation, and I went to an accountant and I sit with him. I explained my whole idea, and I said I don't really know how to do it.
Accountant.
Sorry,
who is your accountant?
my accountant is Philippe Kotsaridis from Fiscofil.
Okay. He used to be my accountant as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm still with him, and for me, I'm really happy with them. They inform me with everything about everything, and help me a lot also to understand, and like super patient. Because I'm an event planner, so for me, it's like I need to know all the steps before I go somewhere. So I need to not even if not planned out, but I need to know what's the way to go somewhere. So they explain to me, and were listening to me with my 200 questions. Yeah, and then when I was ready, they told me like what's the procedure and how much it would cost, and then I had to make a decision. I said, okay, let's do this complementary status. So and then I will have less risk and less to lose, but still in the way to my goal.
yeah, ladies, whoever is listening to us, if you have questions, don't be afraid of asking. Again, asking the questions is an important thing, so you would be able to understand what you need to understand. And I will add maybe something in here for those who never been independent yet. Like complementary independence in Belgium allows you to have your full-time job, but then have your side hustle as well. But it shouldn't exceed a certain amount of hours, I think. I don't remember that part.
I think you need like 20 hours. So even if you don't have a full-time job, you just have to have a job that at least is 20 hours per week. And then you can add a side hustle.
Yeah, you can add side hustle, and in that case, the social contributions are, I think, like 80 euro something per quarter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And
The
about
first year. in the
sorry,
first in the first year, because
the
after,
first,
let's say, even if you gain a lot with your side hustle, in the second year, they can, you can ask for adjustment, but if you don't ask, you get a notification in the third year, and you have to pay back retroactively all
all
the
of
social contribution that you didn't pay and you didn't know you have to pay.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for mentioning that. And for those of you who don't know about that, please dig more information about that. But in Belgium, the social adjustments are calculated after 2-3 years, and I stepped, I fell down. Let's say, like I failed in that sense. Because I had my complementary independent status like in 2017, I think, and I worked. It was like 1.5 months, I think, or a couple of months, but I've earned about 70,000 a euro, I think. But I paid 700 euro social contributions. So 2 years later, that I didn't expect at all, I got a bill of 1,600 euro. So be attentive about that. So it's very important to know about Belgium, because a lot of people keep on paying small social contributions, and then they cry after 2 years when they receive huge, huge bills. There is a lady in our group, actually, in Fearless Female Founders, who got the bill of 10,000 euro, I think. So it's very important to know about that. Yeah, correct.
And if I can add, I would add also that the accountant should have a table. So they have a table, and they know how much you earn, and in according to that table, how much contribution you should pay. So, for example, if you have no idea, just ask your accountant at the end of the year, and they should tell you. And also, like, I think the first 8,000 euro your income is not taxable, so you will just pay income taxes after. So you can play with in 1 year if you have a side hustle to not to earn more, so you don't have to pay more contribution or more tax the next year. But ask your accountant; they should know the limit.
Yeah. But it's important also to understand that you said that you've earned
You're good frozen for me.
amount that is taxed. Important thing to understand. It's not like you earn, let's say, 5,000 euro a month, let's say, and you are taxed on those 5,000. You are taxed actually on the amount after all the expenses that you have in your business. So this is important to understand. Okay, so tell me how you did the shift. Did you have like security savings? Did you have already clients which were ready to pay? Because I think this is a very scary step when you don't know, will be their clients, will be their money coming in or not.
Yeah, so for me, that's why I went for the complementary status, because I wanted to build the basics of my business. And I planned my next steps during the year I was complementary. So it was 2019. In January, I became complementary independent, and I just wanted to test it, kind of without a lot of commitment. Just like, okay, let's try my best, and let's do some work, but not too much. Like I had no idea if I can manage or not. And then I started to have clients. Actually, they contacted me on LinkedIn, so I was very surprised, but super happy. And I was like, okay, it can work. And after around the summer, I started to look into really concrete things, like, okay, what do I need to become fully independent? Like how much money I need to earn, and how much savings should I have? What are the real costs? And actually, for this, I had help, and that's another important point I think is to have professional help. So, for example, I was in the coaching for the business side from Paulina's program. She put it not long time ago in the group, and she was helping me, and it was really amazing because I didn't know from experience. I had no experience, so I didn't really know what are the things to consider. So she told me, and she helped me to calculate as well. And then it gave me an idea, like how many clients should I have per month, or how much revenue should I have per month. And then later, at the end of the year, I took also a business coach who was specialized on events. It's like event business coach, basically.
In Belgium.
Actually, she's based in Canada, and her group is worldwide, but mainly in the US. And I think I'm the only one from Europe. But so this help is like so precious because I was so lost. Like you can observe companies how they do promotion and how do they the business, but from yourself you need either like a diploma or something to know, or I don't know how, like they say, like you take 3 years to discover all these things painfully, or you can take a business coach who explains to you in 6 months. And I feel also like I learned so much in such a short time. And that's another thing to implement. So you have to get over some things to implement. But yeah, so
This is, yeah, this is incredibly important point that you have mentioned, because I remember my time of shifting for the first time, trying to shift for the first time to entrepreneurship. And I have to confess, I was a little bit greedy, meaning that I thought that I can do everything on my own, and I was trying to save money on learnings, trying to go to like free webinars and stuff like that. And at a certain point, I understood that those things don't really work. So when I started paying money to proper coaches, things really started moving for me. And actually, this is the biggest fraction of spend in my balance, in my financial balance sheet. uh, is like a lot of my money goes into education. A lot of my money goes on business coaches, on mentors, and it's extremely valuable. Instead of paying that I was paying before, like, I don't know, 10 euro, 20 euro, now I can easily spend I don't know, 900 euro, 1000 euro, 2000 euro even for coaches, because I see the value, I see how it works. So I can totally relate to what you're saying. But now I can see some comments coming in. I see Paula here with us. Hi, Paula, it's good to see you. Accountants very rarely inform anything. I think I must find a new one. Yeah, actually, it's an interesting thing, because I was with Philip as well, but I actually had bad experience with some harassment actually, and I think I was afraid of mentioning it before, but I think it should be mentioned. You have a good experience with him, and it stays professional. But in my case, I had bad experience. But there was a good part of it actually, that he was providing free advice, and then I would pay for processing invoices and stuff like that. But in your case, like, are you paying for consultations? Because so what Laura is saying, and usually this is how it works, that accountants, they just process your invoices and they don't really give you any advice unless you ask, and usually pay.
I don't know how the others work, but we kind of made an agreement at the beginning that they also give kind of financial advice. So it's not only like you send us the invoice and we do the declaration for you, but I can call them with anything like for questions, I can call them, and then I pay monthly. So I think the full price, like per year, is around 500 euro or something like this, but broke down every month.
Okay, so you agreed that you will be calling them, and is there a certain tariff per hour when you call them? How does it work?
No, when I just call them for some help, it's included in the price, so I don't pay anything else. And for example, when I need to do something extra, like now when I became independent, I changed my status at the administration. So then I just asked them to do everything, and then I paid around 200 euros. So they updated my status, and then they charged the fee on that, but. Otherwise, if I just call with a question or I email them, they don't charge.
That's actually that's actually good. I can see Paula saying, "Wow, I pay 360 euro per trimester without any advice. This sounds like a lot of money." I
Yeah.
yeah. Do they process? Do you have like a lot of invoices? While you are
Yeah.
replying, I will tell you my experience that recently happened with an accountant. So I changed my accountant for the reason I told you about, uh, and he gave me the free advice in the beginning. And I asked him, like, is it okay? Like, how much do I need to pay? And he said, no, that's fine. And then I started transferring my file. And they assigned a specialist to me, and I was talking with her on the phone and everything. And 4 months later, I got the bill of 500 euro.
I saw your post. It was
Yeah.
a bit shocking.
So the lesson in here is you always need to clarify with your accountant how much are they going to charge, and how much it's gonna cost if you call, and if it's gonna cost anything. Because with my previous accountants, like, the story is crazy in Belgium. My first accountant didn't charge me anything, but he would also, you know, not appear sometimes. When he had to submit my invoices, he would just not reply. Was, yeah, crazy experience. Then I switched to Philip, and I have to admit myself that I was very, very messy about my finances. I see the reply of Paula, and if sent yearly revenue, then goes to 540, and also they count every email exchange. Yeah, welcome into my world. In my case, that's also how it works. I'm charged for every email and for every call. So I think I will just continue searching for another accountant, because I think it's way too much.
Yeah. But I think for Philip, for example, if you are a company or if you have more business, I think this price changes. So, I mean, in my business is I don't have a lot of painful things. I think I have some invoices with clients, and they declare my VAT, and yeah, pretty basics. In some periods I have a lot of like tickets, or I have to give to them, but. Yeah, it's not like a company, so I think it's pretty simple for them.
Yeah, from my experience, the usual price for processing invoices is 80 euro per hour. So for small entrepreneurs, they usually don't charge more than that. So it's about like 80 euro per quarter, maybe 120, depending on the quantity of papers, invoices that they need to process. Okay, so I think it's enough about accounting.
And going back to your question, because you were asking me if I had some savings or like how did I do this transition. So I planned my goals, and and for this it was with Francesca's help. So I'm like super, super grateful for this group, because I met really amazing ladies here who helped me. So Francesca, she's productivity coach, and then I took coaching with her as well, and we planned my goals. And so, but financially, one of my goals was like have saving around 12K, because I had in mind like to set up your company in Belgium, you have to have this 12K, and then in the meantime, I think it changed, but it was at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I need this saving because also, if what if I become independent and I don't have income for some months? And how it worked out is like somehow I was. You have to know that I reinvested 100% of what I earned. So I understand when you say that for education is I invested 100% and mainly in coaching and also my diplomas because I'm specialized in protocol, but also like PC and all the equipment you just need, some materials. And but it was just like really funny because at the moment when I already quit my job, and then suddenly I started to have like 3 clients at the same time, and I took them all because I was like, wow, that's great start. And then I was working too much in February. It was my last month also in my work, and it was just really crazy because at the moment when I quit, I had this money. And then I was like, okay, then I decided what to do with it. But it was just like somehow, I don't know how, but it just came together at that moment. But like 1 month before, I could not anticipate that in 1 month I will have this money. So it's yeah, it was
Yeah,
really like,
it's unbelievable. So they just came to you via LinkedIn. They contacted you themselves. Yeah,
yeah,
just like this, like
yeah.
magic.
By email. So I was also like, how did you get your email? I don't know. But in I think in my sector it goes by word of mouth. So it's like you talk about each other because I'm organizing events, and as I said, I'm specialized on protocols. So it's like if somebody recommends you, because you also need to be discreet and you need to be like you need to have high standards and you cannot make a mistake, and you also have to, for me, you have to be very flexible and adapt to people. And I think that's why like they hear about you, and if they were happy they recommend you. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, okay. I wonder if there are many event consultants actually out there in Belgium. So if there are not many and if it's a small world, then yeah, that's
There
really
are a
cool.
few.
That's
Yeah,
really cool.
yeah.
And yeah, coming back to invoices, because I can see people asking, can you say about how many invoices can you have per month?
That I can have or I have, because like what I can have, I don't think I have a limit. If that's the question, like if they put a limit on how much they will process, they didn't tell me, so I guess I didn't reach their limit. Right? I suppose if I would reach their limit, they would say, "Hey, it's a bit too much work, so now we need to, yeah, increase the fees." But I didn't reach, and I didn't ask. I was a bit naive also. I went to their office and I said, "Look, I have like no idea. Can you help me?" And
You can have
and
what? Sorry?
sorry,
You can have what?
if you can help me.
I
I
can.
was just, yeah, like, can you help me? I have no idea how it works. But at the same time, I went to him because he was recommended by 3 other people, and
Mhm.
he also knew them. And I told him like, look, you were recommended by this, that people, so I trust you. And I guess for him also it's important that these people are his clients, and he got a good feedback. And yeah, so I feel that he doesn't want to play with my trust. And
Mhm.
yeah, so I don't know if what's his limit.
Yeah, yeah. But like, how many invoices do you have usually, like per quarter?
So I would say around 6. It varies. Yeah, it's not a lot because for me, so in the past year, 19, I was doing this as a side hustle, and I don't have a lot of capacity. I'm like physical, I think, because it takes a lot of energy to organize an event, and I was doing already as full-time job, and then next to that, I was doing extra. So it was more like I did a client, and then I needed like between 2 weeks and 1 month to recover, like my energy level to recover. And that's why I didn't take a lot. But yeah, it depended also the size. So
Yeah, well, that's crazy because I just looked into my balance sheet, and girls, I would recommend anyone to start doing that because um, your money start growing accordingly to your focus and attention on money. And I was never focused on money. I was like, okay, money coming in, money coming out, and it feels like I'm in control. But when I started to do the balance sheet, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I was like totally out of control. So I had a look just now into my balance sheet, and I'm actually a bit shocked that I have 42 invoices per month.
Wow, that's a lot.
Well, yeah, actually, yeah, per month. Some of them quarterly, but apparently, yeah, that's the amount, and a lot of them are courses, they're books, they're platforms that I use for digital marketing. Yeah.
Yeah, if I count also those, like for me, invoices, what I counted is what I give to my clients. But if I count also the ones that I receive, yeah, I have like around 20, I guess. It depends.
Oh, yeah, because I need to take into account the incoming invoices and
Yeah,
outgoing invoices.
yeah. But for example, for me, for the finances, what I did, I was also like a bit like, yeah, it's okay. Like I have a control. I have a folder with incoming and then outgoing. But then after, like at the beginning of this year, I was a bit panicking. Like I was feeling like I have no control of what's happening and I cannot plan. Like how much do I need? Because I started to hear from everywhere, like you need to have a goal and then you work for that goal money wise, like you want, I don't know, 50 or 100K per year, you work for that. And I'm like, how? And so what I did, I just simply Googled bookkeeping tool, like bookkeeping Excel, and I found a great Excel. It's like a Dutch, I can share with you if you want. It's a Dutch page. So I just, it's like a template, and you have different sheets, and you have one sheet for your invoice. So basically, you just put your details, and each time it generates the invoice, you just save it as PDF. And then you have other sheets with income, outgoing expenses, and then like basically there are all the formulas to calculate your taxes also, and then this, like it's super good, but you have to adjust a little bit because it's like from the Netherlands, so maybe the percentage is different.
Oh
And
my
then
God,
I just
give it to us.
I can send you. And what I did, I added another sheet for me when I just did a plan. And there I did the one for the social security. I was really panicking, like how much should I pay? And I don't know if I paid enough or not. So I calculated a bit. And there I did the table with, okay, how much I want, and then how can I work towards that. And then now I start to feel in control of my finances. And it's crazy, like you have small costs, like small platforms or the accountant or your phone, and like small things, and then actually the outgoing money can be a lot, but you kind of have no idea because it's like 10 euro, 20 euro subscription, and then but when you add it together, it's a lot.
No, I think, yeah, to become a wealthy person, it's absolutely crucial to know your finances, to know where your money goes and where they come in. And as you said, to have planning as well, like what kind of goals you want to achieve. I recently did an exercise actually myself of my life progression of my earnings and how much I should earn uh, to retire when I'm 50. And it's a very powerful exercise because you actually can see that you don't have much time. You know, I am going to turn 39, I think, if not 40, in June next month. So I was like, oh my God, I only have 10 years to earn, you know, this amount of money to be financially free after 50. So knowing your finances, knowing your numbers is extremely important. So do send us your file. I can share mine as well, but it's really, really simple. It's really the business expenses, the money that I earn, so where my money come in, and my personal expenses as well. And why it was important for me to separate those um, is that I also didn't realize how much I can spend on personal expenses and how much I can spend on business. And I still don't have this absolutely clear understanding but I was talking to an experienced entrepreneur, and I still need to clarify that. Don't take my words as absolute truth, you shouldn't. But we are all learning. Yeah. So if you have anything to share about that, please do. And
Okay.
I can see Paul asking, can you share with me too, please, the bookkeeping template?
I can put it in the group.
Yeah, I think we can put it directly under the video.
Okay.
Okay, so is there anything else you would like to share about the challenges or what went well or what women who are building their businesses should absolutely know about?
Yes, I think I have like another point that for me it's like a lifesaver, or how to say, like to make sure I can do this, what I'm doing, is to have a good support system. And I think it's really not to undervalue support system in a meaning like family, friends, a safe net where you, if you fall and if you have difficulties, they will kind of catch you. So, because for example, for me, so I started this year with a lot of clients and a lot of work, but then suddenly this Corona came and there are no events. So it means that I lost like, yeah, all my clients who was on events. I had a few on protocol that was good, but yeah, it's like it's not enough. It's not the main income. And basically, I would not be able to do this now. So peacefully, let's say, without my partner, because he gives me the possibility to have this risk. And if you don't have an income for some time, or if you have less, then you are still surviving. And I think it's important, because if I would have been alone, I don't know if I would have taken the risk, or maybe I would have just have more savings, or maybe I would have moved to my parents again. So you never know, but it's just good to have like a backup plan in case something goes wrong. Yeah. And I don't know if you want to talk about the feminine part of being an entrepreneur, because for me it's a new experience.
We will, but let's answer the questions that we have. So the first question is, would you suggest to stay as independent, nom propre, or better changing for SPRL or SRL?
So for me, my accountant said that he told me the exact like amount, like limit amount of income. That if I earn that amount, it was like around 70 something k. Then it's better to change to a company, because then you pay less taxes, so it changes. But my plan is, yes, to change it, but maybe next year or the year after, because I don't know now, this Corona, if have a little bit delayed my idea, my plan. But my plan is to change to that once I'm earning that amount.
Yeah, I was told actually the same. And again, I'm not sure I'm right again. Okay, so don't take my words as, as the truth. But when we say 60 or 70,000, we are talking about earnings after taxes, right? Because if it was true, that you need to earn 60, 70,000, I would probably be able already to register myself as a SPRL or SRL. But I'm spending a lot, like expensing like a lot to be able to optimize my taxes. So I think to register as a company, really, 60,000 is really like income after tax. Another question is, I'm one person entrepreneur working with 15, 20 other independents, and was thinking if you girls had these um, thoughts, sorry, what is best nowadays? I think it's referred to the previous question.
Yeah. So yeah, is it in a meaning that you work together or you employ them?
Yeah,
Because
but I didn't understand also completely the question. Yeah, maybe what Paula means is that they are working independently, but maybe they can come together to shape SPRL. From what I know, yeah, when you earn more than those 60,000, of course, it makes sense to create a company because you pay less taxes. You pay what, 25%, I think, something like that.
Something, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, it was about the same thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So I hope we managed to answer that question. Okay, so coming to the feminine parts of managing business, being an independent and entrepreneur. Tell us.
Yeah, so I was just thinking about this because, of course, we are all together in this, and like we have maybe similar experiences. I don't know. You can also share yours, but for me is like it's really crazy how they see you, and so first of all, it's like. I had these like funny stories. Like I went to the Steep to buy tickets for an event, and I had to buy like 200 because it was for people. We wanted to give a Steep ticket, and then I told the guy that the guy who was selling that, yeah, so please give me the invoice because I need to declare with the taxes. And he was like, he gave to me, and he was like, okay, you can give this to your boss. But he used the word patron. You know, in French, patron is like, it's like super like objectivized, like your boss. And I'm like, I could not hold back, and then I was like really smiling and like, I'm the boss. And then I was like, je suis la patronne. And I was like, I need to say it because why? Like, why can I just be an assistant or, you know? Okay, so I was really smiling that day, and he was smiling. He was like, oh, okay, sorry, with awkward smile. But I have these experiences, and then at the beginning, and then like I was in a conversation with two men, and they were talking about investment. And then you have to know that when I started to work in 2015, I invested at a bank, and I was like, kind of had no clue what is it, but I was like, I went to the bank again. I said, look, I have no idea what is it, but I want to invest because I believe in this, and let explain me everything. So I invested, and so I was talking to like these men were talking. I was next to them, and then at some point they said, "Yeah, let's stop this discussion because we are just boring. Katinka, it's not for women." I'm like, like I'm sorry, like I didn't even want to say that I did it also, and I have some basic understanding. But you have this kind of things, and then not long ago, like I think it was January. I was in a restaurant, and it was a small Italian restaurant, and the tables are like really next to each other almost. There was, I thought a couple, but it was a man and a lady, and the man started to brag about, oh, I will start my business, and but like this, like I'm so cool. I will start my business, but I have no idea all this admin and all this. I have no clue, but I will do it. And then he was starting to flirt with this lady and saying like, and I need, I need like a beautiful assistant. I don't know whatever he was saying, like who needs to guide me in this and help me. And I was
Can I
thinking,
be your patron? Can I be your patron?
I was thinking, like this guy was asking for her help because he was kind of trusting her that if, like, I don't know if it's true, but like kind of saying to her that if you help me, you will help me succeed. So I need you to succeed. That was the message for me. Like he had no clue. He was super proud that he didn't know about all this status and everything. And then he needed this lady. And then it made me think that how, like, I'm super hard on myself. I'm like, oh my god, I need to know all the legal stuff. The accountant tell me everything, and I don't dare to start until I feel like I know everything.
Yeah.
So why are we so hard on ourselves when there are others? I don't know. Maybe some women are also very confident, and that's good for them. I wish I would be like that, but I'm not. And I think like I feel like most of the time I'm beating myself up for nothing. You see what I want to say is like others are taking it so easily. Like for example, men, and it's like said to them, you can do it. But
Yeah,
for us, it's like it said you cannot do it, and when you try, and let's say you could maybe know much more than a band, it's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. But no, it's like it's a lot of effort and a lot of education. They don't teach it at school, and then men are pushed in this atmosphere from early age, like, ah yeah, you will be a businessman, you will be a doctor, and us is like, no, and you have to work yourself up much more, and you arrive there and you are there and you beat yourself up, not others.
we do. No, we do absolutely. And I've been through this experience myself, and I'm still there in many ways. And I'm trying to learn from men as well. And one of the most important things I think I understood lately, building my entrepreneurial experience, is that men were on an entrepreneurial scene for many, many years. And what I have noticed, they take it much slower. So they are okay that success might come within 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Well, they can get impatient sometimes as well. But we women, probably because we still don't have this experience ingrained in, somewhere in our head, we have this misinterpretation very often that we will shift into entrepreneurship and then money will just fall on our head. Well, in your case, it happened, which is amazing. But in most of the cases, it's not the case. In most of the cases, it's not the case. So you have to work for several years until you really start generating income. And when I look at my partner, he has his company for almost 6 years now. Actually, when we started dating, he started building that company, his startup. And it's only now, after 6 years, he starts to earn money. So there was no even break even before that. So 6 years building the company with a product which is absolutely amazing. It's nanotechnology. It's not like, everyone on the street doing, or like people giving webinars like me about personal development and everything. There are so many people out there like me. And yet it took him 6 years to start earning the revenue. And he was very patient building that company. And me, breaking every 3 months, because I don't get my millions. It takes time. It takes time. It takes effort. And honestly, like talking about female entrepreneurship, I enjoy much more being female entrepreneur rather than being female employee.
Yeah,
Because for me, that was a disaster. Really, I couldn't find my way working with men and making my voice heard. And this is probably one of the biggest reasons I decided to go away. Because if there were more than one man in the room, just forget about it. Whatever knowledge you have, whatever experience you have, whatever opinion you have, you just can't break through the wall of two guys. That was my experience. And now, when I'm on my own, I do the things the way I want. And I pay for my own mistakes and I'm fine with them. This is the most beautiful thing, not being scared that there will be the patron who will come and who will tell, why did you do this mistake? You're a bad girl. You will be fired.
yeah. It's more like, as they say, it's more difficult but more fulfilling as well. I don't mind all the difficulties. It's like it's difficult because now, for example, like in this month and since April, May, like I didn't have revenue at all. So it's like it's a huge difference because I started the year like super wow, amazing. I was just like waking up from a dream or something. But then now I applied for this state aid, like all the independents, because there are no events, and then is how will I come out of this period? Like when will events come back? And then you kind of have to reinvent myself. That I'm trying as well, but then like you say, reinvent yourself. It's like it takes the whole package of reinventing. So learning new skills, getting over of new things, like just doing video and expose yourself, learn the tools and stuff. So it's it's like it's crazy that how much you need to push yourself and be somebody new. And yeah.
Yeah, it's the whole new life. I agree. It's a whole new life. And Paula is saying that I have never worked as employed. Maybe like you. Who knows? Okay, so girls, if you don't have questions, because I can see that some of you are watching us, we are going to head into companies in this session. But before we complete it, I will ask the usual blitz questions about your favorite books and your favorite courses.
Okay, so favorite books is for me what lately I read a lot of self-development books, and what really changed my mind, I have like three books, and the first is I saw it. Yeah, the first one you will know because I got it from your list,
Oh,
and it's the Give and Take from Adam
yeah.
Grant. Yeah, that was like 2 years ago, and it really changed my life because I was like, wow, there is nothing wrong with me. So I understood a lot about myself, and I think that kicked off a whole this process of accepting myself and yeah, just go with the flow, like who you are. And then the other one is the motivational myth. So it's
Motivational
the motivational
meat.
myth, like a mythos, like myth.
Ah,
I
okay.
can put it in the
Meeting.
yeah. It's like about motivation. That it's not something like you have a magic moment and then you are motivated. Yeah, let's go. But it's because it goes away fast. Like next day you wake up and you forget it. But more about starting things and then that will motivate you, and then small steps, and then will help you. But it has a lot of interesting things. And the another one is for Marie Forleo. I don't know if you know her.
I
Marie
know
Forleo.
her. I
Yeah.
know her. I have her book actually saved in my 70s, and every time I look at it, it's like, should I buy it? Should I not? Should I buy it? Should I not?
Oh, I think you would love it. I think you would love it because it's about it's the one which is called Everything is Figure Outable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the one.
Yeah, and why I think why I would love it. It's I think it's the same reason for why I loved it because like all these books often are written by men and they have this very specific way of seeing business and doing things. But Marie, she's a lady, but her way is not this aggressive bulldozer way, but it's the feminine way. And when I was reading it, it's about how to do your business with the kind yourself and being kind and loving and not aggressive and going to everybody. And if you are still loving and kind and sensible, it's okay. And it changed really for me a lot of things. I had blocks because I was always feeling like they told me, you are, yeah, the cute little Katinka, yeah, she's nice. But I'm like, no, I'm more, I would like to be nice, but I'm also more here. So
You
when I
know,
read this book as well, I was like, yeah, it's okay, and you can do it.
no, this is so extremely important that this kind of books are starting to come out because when I started thinking about it, that women, we act completely different than men in business as well, and because men were dominating the business world for so many years, we as women don't know how to lead our business in a feminine way. And I I experienced the business masculine way myself, and I burned myself so badly for so many times that finally I've accepted that I'm woman, I'm acting differently, I'm thriving differently. And I now in a very strong transformational period where I'm learning to be in the flow more, trust more, not to overwork. And this was my everything, working like absolutely crazy. Now I'm just like, I'll do tomorrow. You know, I'll do it tomorrow, and I just trust the universe that everything will be figure outable for me. And
Yeah.
so far, I don't see like any difference, you know, between that period and that in the sense in the results, let's say. So
Yeah.
I will definitely read that book. There is another book I really want to read. Is called Chillpreneur.
That I didn't read.
I will post it under. So we've got a question here. What to do if you see a good number of clients, but you see that this number somehow blocks and does not go higher? Any advice?
I was just reading about this. It was not on your page, Anna. I think it was today or yesterday. But yeah, no, sorry, I don't know where I read. But yeah, it's like sometimes what I read is it was that we are limiting ourselves to a number, and we think like, we reached that number and we just want to like stay there. But actually what blocks is that we should reach for more. So I don't know if it makes sense, but it's like, let's say you have like your aim is 100. I'm just saying a number like 100, and then you reach 100, and then you want to keep that like, I want to keep this number. But if you focusing on that, actually it will drop a little bit or stagnate. But if you reach your number, you can aim higher, and then it will give you other ideas to improve and implement. And sometimes when we feel stuck, that we don't feel the inspiration to change, and then that can block. But that's just what I read.
Oh, I think we lost you for a moment.
Oh.
I from my side, you know, I'm reading the book right now exactly about that, and it's called Big Leap. Big Leap. It's a very famous book, bestseller, and it's exactly about that, about the such notion as upper limit that we set for ourselves, consciously or unconsciously. So go right now and buy that book right now. What does it cost? Probably 14 euros, something like that. Okay, so we are already over 1 hour. Time really
Wow.
flies. Yeah, time really flies, like when you have fun. Katinka, thank you so much for being here today with us, for sharing your experience, for being so courageous, for being such an amazing example for all of us. You're a great example. Thank you. Thank you for being here with us.
No, thank you so much also for giving me this opportunity. It's really great and new to share. So I would encourage for other ladies also. You are maybe used to it, but you know, like if you have never done it, it's like a whole new thing, and it makes you grow. And no, I'm really grateful. Thank you so much.
That's absolutely my pleasure. Yes, and girls who wants to share their own experience through an interview like this, you are really welcome. So ping me. I can see a lot of thank yous coming in the comments. Thank you, girls, and have a great day. Have a great weekend. Sun is shining in Belgium. COVID is passing by. So let's succeed. Let's be stronger together.
Bye.
Bye, girls. Thanks,
Bye.
Katinka.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.